Hello, we are at day 3 and I need to okay, that was a little too loud. Got to keep up with those updates. We are at day 3 and this hurricane ain't playing around. Okay, yeah, it kind of is playing around. It's just kind of sitting out there, churning, just kind of playing with us, you know? It's kind of like, bet you wish you knew where I was going. Well, yeah, Hurricane Dorian, whatever your name is. We do wish we knew where you were going. Are you coming south and cutting across to the Gulf? Are you going north and wiping out the mouse house? Are you going into Georgia, out to sea? We don't know, but we want to know. So yeah, we wish we knew. Got my hat on today. Fort Myers Beach. Fort Myers strong here. We're hanging in. So I did some more preparations. Last night I worked on some of my Red Cross training, so I got some of that done, and I'm going to work on some more of that later tonight. But my hurricane preparations, what I did today, and I'm going to tell you right now, I know I sidetracked, but I'm so glad I went out Wednesday and got fuel in my car. Even though I put $30 in and I had a quarter tank of gas and it didn't fill it up, but it's almost full. Oh my gosh, my phone's ringing back there. I don't know where it's at, but I'm glad I did that because every freaking gas station within a 10-mile radius of me, out of gas. No gas to be found pretty much in all of Fort Myers. But I did look at a map today, like pretty much everything from Miami to the Georgia state line. There's roughly 50 to 40% of all gas stations in the entire state that are out of fuel today. Now, Governor DeSantis is having fuel trucks escorted down here to, you know, replenish all the fuel at the gas stations, which is good, but this thing is not supposed to be making landfall now till like Monday into Tuesday now, because it was Saturday night to Sunday, and then it was Sunday night to Monday, and now it's Monday night to Tuesday. And now they're still saying that it's going to be a hurricane inland on Florida even as late as Wednesday. So I'm telling you, he's going to bring those trucks down here. But I have a feeling that by Sunday evening, it's going to be the same problem. I don't even know if I have enough gas in my car to get to the state of Georgia. But I have a feeling once you cross that line, I'm pretty sure North Georgia or South Georgia is going to be facing some gas shortage too, because the thing is like this is a holiday weekend, like Labor Day weekend, so there were a lot of tourists coming in, you know, to celebrate the holiday weekend. So all the tourists are trying to get out of the state. Everybody on the coast trying to figure out what they're going to do if they're going to move inland. They're not having mandatory evacuations yet, but they did go ahead and start saying voluntary evacuations if you're, you know, in the zones, which I found out. There's this website where I could go to and put in my address and see what is my evacuation zone. I couldn't make any sense out of that website at all. Like, I was so confused. And if it may just be that because I'm not in an evacuation area right now, that it just wasn't giving me information. But I found this awesome thing, and bear with me because it's actually under this camera. Easy. Okay, just like that. Okay, my husband, when he first got a job down here after we moved here last year, he had this all hazards guide, preparedness, okay, for Lee County, because that's where I live. And so I was flipping through it last night. I forgot about even having it, and I was flipping through it last night, and I was like reading some really good information, and I found my evacuation zone. So when they start that, if it comes to that and they have evacuations in my area, I know my evacuation zone. I learned my evacuation route. So I learned a lot of good information from this book. This book is going to be my best friend for the next at least 3 days. Okay, so that's one thing I did last night. I did my Red Cross training and I learned my evacuation zone. So for today, in the event, because this thing now could still potentially be a Cat 5. Even if it doesn't, a Cat 4 is like a pretty detrimental storm to move in. So, okay. So in the event that it does come to evacuating, I'm saving the fuel. I was going to go out today and get some more waters and some more snacks, and I decided with all this craziness and all these gas stations running out of fuel, I'm not cranking that car up until I have to evacuate or that storm moves through. Like, I'm not wasting my gas. I will eat that super jar of peanut butter and live on that. But today, I packed a bag. Just in case I need to leave, I packed a change of clothes, and I packed some, I've got my first aid kit. I have tons and tons of hand sanitizer, because, you know, you need hand sanitizer. And I have, which this might seem crazy, but I have sunscreen and bug spray in my emergency if I got a leave kit. Now, normally when I go to the beach or if I'm out here laying by the pool, I'm like, do not come near me with your sunscreen. But, I mean, this is a situation you don't know. Like, what if I'm stuck outside? What if anything? What if I'm stuck with somebody who's like very pale skinned, and you got to be prepared for everything and anything. So I threw some sunscreen in there. Got my hand sanitizer, and think about it. If there's a lot of rain, a lot of standing water, if there's flooding, I don't know if you know or have ever heard of these Florida mosquitoes, but they're kind of like flying demons of death. Like, these mosquitoes down here they're kind of like little baby alligators that fly, and they have like these little dragon heads, and they spit fire, and they're horrible. Okay, maybe that was a little over dramatization, but they really are terrible down here, the mosquitoes. So you think any type of potential flooding and standing water, you need to repel those mosquitoes, because the mosquitoes will kill you. And I'm not even just talking about West Nile virus now. I mean, now they're saying that you can get necrotizing fasciitis from mosquitoes, which is, you know, the flesh-eating bacteria from mosquitoes. Literally everything in Florida will kill you. Okay, so that was what I did, some of what I did today. I will show you the rest of what I did. Okay, so here is one thing that I did today. When they were saying you needed 7 gallons of water per person, and I was thinking, my gosh, I'm never going to drink 7 gallons of water. I was watching a news conference or a press conference from the head of FEMA today, or actually last night. Anyway, he was saying that all of the water that they tell you to account for is not just for drinking, that you need water to wash your hands, you may need water to cook with, water for bathing, whatever. And I was like, hadn't thought of all of that. That man's a genius, which is probably why he's the head of FEMA and I'm not. So all of my water bottles and everything, of course, are already packed up, but I haven't packed up my pantry yet. And I had some of my storage containers on my pantry that were empty or near to empty. So I'm working my way through those, throwing out what I can throw out and using those as water bottles. Okay, so that's going to help me with that as far as like catching any water. And I will be using my bathtub, catching water in the bathtub, but I'm not doing that till kind of like last minute because, you know, I still use it right now. And then there's my peanut butter. Not gonna need snags. Another thing, they're telling you to get everything up out of the floor. So since I've been packing, luckily most all my stuff is already in boxes. I am storing my boxes high, like up, even though that's my box. My chocolate chip waffles come in, which I got so many of them to eat, but I got stuff packed in there now. But I'm going to use these cabinets to put some boxes in, on top of the furniture, on top of the bathroom cabinets. I'm using my washer and dryer still, but they told me that you can use your washer and dryer to store stuff in, and that they're actually great because the best thing is with your washing machine is this seal. It's waterproof, so you can put stuff in there that are kind of a little more sacred things. Perfect. I got an email today that said I had enough points to get a free pizza, which this is going to be horrible for my diet, but I thought I was going to take advantage of the free pizza. I ordered me a sandwich for dinner tonight. I'm going to throw the pizza in the refrigerator, and it's in there. I can eat on that all weekend while I finish doing my other prepping. And then the final thing I did today was these bad boys right here. And that is sandbags. And I'm going to tell you, these sandbags, I can't even hardly pick it up. They weigh about 75 pounds each. So that is what I've done for today. Okay, so for today, that's what I managed to do, is to start collecting some water. That's not necessarily drinking water. Using some empty containers in my pantry to catch water for washing my hands or whatever you need water that's not going to be drinking water. I will catch water in the bathtub. Whatever night is going to be the last night that I need to get some water. Like if we don't get a direct hit from the hurricane, but we get like massive amounts of torrential rain and we have flooding, whenever the flooding starts to happen, it's going to knock power out, most likely. That's when I'm going to be catching some water. So, and then I'm going to use my washer and dryer, putting my boxes up in cabinets, on the furniture, on the counters, bathroom counters, kitchen counters. I'm doing everything, get as many boxes. I had some, you know, set on those plastic totes, those little storage bins. But I actually went through a flood event in 2013. Actually, it was in August of 2013. The very first day of August of 2013. And we had like a little storage building, and I had some plastic storage totes, those little storage containers in there, and the water got so deep that water will get into that. It'll like get up and seep in under the lid. So depending on how deep the water may get, those little storage tubs may not even be safe sitting in the floor. So I'm putting as much as I can up high. That's what I'm going to be working on tonight for a while. I'm going to work on some more of my Red Cross training. So I got my bag packed, ready to leave. And got me some food. I got me some free food for the weekend. So, oh, and the sand, oh my gosh. Okay, so I gotta tell you the story about the sand because it's kind of funny and it's kind of not. But I work from home, obviously, so luckily enough, I was, at home when I got the text. The leasing office sent a text out to everyone and said, we have free sandbags for everyone. Come and get them. Good while supplies last. Okay, well, you know when something is good while supplies last, that means when it's gone, and they're not getting more. So luckily, since I was home, I thought, well, I better go over there because one, I've never been in a hurricane before. How many sandbags do I need? Where do I need to put these sandbags? Like, I have questions. I have a lot of questions. So I go over there. They give me 2 bags. I'm saying bags. They give me 2 bags, okay, and said 2 should be plenty. Put them outside your door. Okay, as long as the water doesn't get deep enough that it comes in the windows. Okay, I do know for a fact that these windows have little holes, like little tiny holes in the corners of them. And the reason I learned that is because when we first moved in here last year, I had the most atrocious problem with lizards. Literally every week I was getting 3-4 lizards in this house that I was having to deal with getting them back out of this house. And what they told me was that the little holes in the corners of all the windows in the apartment are flood holes. So like if water comes in, like if there's flooding, the hole in the window is supposed to be a place where the water can go back out. But the lizards were coming through those holes. So they told me to just stuff them with cotton balls. So all of my window holes are currently stuffed with cotton balls to keep lizards out of the apartment. Okay, so sand. Okay, back to the sand. I went way off track. Okay, so she gave me 2 things of sand. 2 will be plenty. Put them outside your door. Well, the sand was out where the big pond is in the beach area. They had these huge tarps set out there with these huge piles of sand and a shovel. That's right, a shovel and a pile of sand. Well, luckily when I was out there, 2 of my neighbors were out there, and I must have been horrible at shoveling my own sand because my neighbor said, and he's from North Carolina, so I guess that's probably the only reason he tried to be nice, but he was like, here, give me the shovel, I'll do that. I'm like, shoot, I don't know. I've never had to shovel my own sand. I've never had to make my own sandbags. Come on. This is all new to me. So I must have been really bad because he did. I was like holding my bag and trying to shovel sand in it. Of course, sand was falling everywhere and I was having to like pick my bag back up. But so he did help me. He shoveled the sand into my bags. And then he tied his bags up and took them, and then the other neighbor, he was working on shoveling his sand, and I tied mine up to bring mine in, and I went to pick them up, and I'm going to tell you right now, I never had to shovel my own sand to make my own sandbags, so I did not realize how freaking heavy sand is. Yeah, those things probably weigh, I'd say at least 50 to 75 pounds a piece. I tried to like look all tough because people were out there waiting to, fill their sand and stuff, and I tried to pick them both up, and I walked maybe 10 steps, dropped them, and I was like, oh, screw this shit, like I had to use 2 hands, carry one to the door, set it down, go back and get the other one, and then I opened the door and dragged them both in. But that was my ordeal today, was dealing with sandbags. So that was the ordeal. Everything else has been pretty relatively easy. So as of right now, we're potentially waiting on a Cat 4 hurricane, and I'm just trying to get everything as high up as possible. And I got the sandbags ready. I got my bag packed. Just gonna work on some more Red Cross training. I still haven't got like my game plan yet for that because I haven't heard back from my regional coordinator. But I think the thing is because our area hasn't been actually technically, like, they haven't officially like made the word on opening a shelter yet. I think our region probably isn't like officially like working yet. So I think probably closer to the weekend or over the weekend, sometime during the weekend, I expect to hear back from her. So I'm just going to work on trying to get the rest of that training done so that I can be ready to help out when that time comes. And so this is it for day 3, getting stuff up high, finding places to collect water, getting my sandbags ready, and just continuing on with my Red Cross training. So that's it for today. I guess we'll check in later and see. I don't know if this thing just sits out there and churns and nothing else is going on. There's probably nothing anymore really to do or to talk about until it starts getting closer to landfall. But I think it's supposed to be like within, I think maybe overnight or within tonight or tomorrow. I haven't heard the last update. I missed it, but it's really close to the Bahamas, so definitely keep the folks in the Bahamas. I know Puerto Rico and some of the Lesser Antilles and those areas out there, they got spared a lot of potential what they could have endured, especially like Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. Oh, they did not need anything else, so they fared fairly well. But the Bahamas, they're, I think the Northwest Nassau and a couple of the Bahama Islands are really in the hot zone right now, especially with this thing already a Cat 3. So definitely keep the people in the Bahamas in your thoughts right now, because I don't think anything's really going to happen in Florida for a few days, but those guys right now, they're really in harm's way. So keep them in your thoughts and just keep monitoring it, and we'll just keep waiting day by day and see what this hurricane decides to do. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.